Okay, welcome to Athens City Council meeting in two committees tonight, Finance and Personnel Committee and Transportation Committee. As you know, I am not President Bias, but he always begins the meeting by reminding everyone to turn off their cell phones if you have one with you, and then he forgets sometimes. Again, we have two committees. The Finance and Personnel Committee will begin with a presentation by Paige Lost. She's the chair of the Athens County Convention and Visitors Bureau. The city does have a contract with the Convention and Visitors Bureau for 35% share of the transient tourist taxes that we collect. And so part of that contract involves an annual report. So Paige is going to talk to us about what they did in 2009 and hopefully give us some idea of what they're planning for the next upcoming year.
What is coming around to you is our 2010 budget and also a list of our current board directors, just in case you wanted to refer to that. Okay, what we'll do is start out with just a quick review of 2009 and then we'll talk briefly about what our plans are for this year. I always like to talk about the special events that Athens County does because some of them are some of the more unique ones that we have in the state. We will be doing the Winter Jazz and Blues Fest again this year. Last year we enjoyed the 2009 Quilt National. It was their biggest year ever for Quilt National. Of course, now it is off traveling all across the country. It's currently showing in Columbus right now. OU Family Weekends and Sporting Events filled about 13 weekends for us this past year at maximum capacity. And we continue to really enjoy the parents' weekend income that comes in here. Not only do they do a great job of filling up the hotels, but they fill up the restaurants and the shops as well. Ohio Brew Week, its third year, growing bigger and bigger every year. Boogie on the Bricks, again, I think we had about 6,000 people out on the bricks this year, and that was a tremendous amount of fun. The Pawpaw Festival, which technically isn't in Athens, but is tied very closely to Athens, out at Lake Snowden, and they will again be hosting at that location again this year. The American Legion 4th of July Tournament and the state championships were both held here last year. As many of you know and read in the paper last week, we are losing the American Legion State Championships. They've been here for about 45 years. Wow. And yeah, we're not really happy about it, but we feel like between our organization and the Chamber's organization over the last couple of years, we've really worked to kind of smooth a little bit of some of the issues. A lot of it is regarding the use of the fields at Ohio University, and there's a lot of rain and weather that causes some grief and heartache for the players as well. They are moving their tournament to Lancaster. They will be staying in hotels and eating at restaurants as opposed to staying in the dormitories and having the parents stay in the hotels. And we're really hoping that that they will come back to Athens and we'll continue to work with them. I actually received a letter today from the commissioner of the tournament just stating that they were definitely moving. And we hope to just keep the lines of communication open and hope for them to come back to Athens. 45 years is that's a pretty heavy tradition, and I think that the players will miss certain aspects that they had here in Athens that they won't have in Lancaster. So, and then of course Halloween, I always add a little exclamation point for that one. It's so much fun. Conferences, meetings, and groups. We were very busy, especially with the assistance of the Ohio University Conference Services Office, as well as their many departments and organizations who bring people here. One of the best things that the university has done for the community in recent years is to hire Kristen Steckmesser-Stanley, who is the conference services director there, and we've been working very closely with her. She serves on our board. We've been working very closely with her and the Baker Center and the catering people to bring in more groups, and you'll see in our plans for 2010 about additional work that we're doing in that area, but we certainly appreciate and value the assistance that they give to us. You'll see some of the other groups that came in. The Studio Art Quilters group was one of my favorite ones. They came in at the opening of Quilt National and stayed for several days and had a really great time. The Regional Collegiate Forensics Competitions, those now have rolled into the National Collegiate Forensics Competition, which will be here this year, and a couple of other subsequent years we'll be hosting them in the late spring. This is approximately 1,000 college students.
Wow.
People always say, forensics, is that like CSI? No, it's debate. So if you just think there's a lot of arguing going on in Athens now, you wait until early April, and there'll be a lot of heated discussion happening. The Sports Administration Alumni Symposium, which happens every year, and the Institute for the African Child happens every year. Advertising and marketing for 2009. These are some of the places where we did print advertising, we did a little radio advertising, and of course we did a brand new effort in Time Warner Cable, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. Our visitor's guide, which you see flipping, I didn't realize I put the animated one in there. You're getting all kind of good activity. Our advertising ties directly into our marketing activities, and most of our marketing activities are centered around generating additional business. So going to group travel shows, the AAA Travel Showcase, which we did in Columbus last year, we gave out, about 1,500 visitor guides. It was a very, very busy show. We do attend the OU recruiting events, all the area festivals. We have a distribution service, and then again, more ways in which we can bring additional groups here through membership and other organizations. These are just a few of the print ads. These are the ones that are specific to Athens. And you'll see certain things like the long one that you see there with some of the Dairy Barn and Cutler Hall type artwork on there is a web banner. Some of the others are full-page ads. Some of them are small ads. Some of these go in Ohio Magazine. Some of them go in newspaper. But it certainly gives you an idea of some of the things that we're involved in and some of where your money goes. Advertising is very expensive, and it's always a challenge. You look at your budget and you go, wow, I have so much, and then you realize how very quickly it goes, which is what makes our website so important, AthensOhio.com. Again, we average about 1.3 million hits a month. This is huge. Our web developer, Roman Warmke at Eden Marketing, loves our website because it's a monster. It just keeps getting bigger, and we just keep adding stuff to it. About 30,000 unique visitors a month, about 500 pages of content, free business listings. This year we added an interactive map, which you'll see in just a minute. This allows people to go in, see a map of Athens, and then they can add filters to it, like where are all the restaurants, where are all the churches, where are all the attractions, where are all the hotels, and it allows people to find things a little easier. We also developed 3 sister sites for the website this year, one on arts, one on motorsports, and one on regional flavor. And of course our interactive visitors guide is always part of the website. We continue to be ranked number 1 or number 2 in search engines. In fact, over the weekend I was doing a little searching, and we were ranking up above the OU website, and I was a little kind of excited about that. We also have a very small affiliate booking program on there that allows our visitors to the website to book now, as the function refers to it. We do not use this in competition with the hotel's regular booking sites, but for people who are looking for a deal or looking for something right then, it allows us to capture their business on the spot. And this year we booked about 250 room nights for about $40,000 in income for our area hotels. We do not market the book now function because there is a fee associated with it for our hotel partners, but it is, again, a great way for us to capture some immediate business on our website. These are the other web developments for this year. This is an example of what the homepage for the arts section looks like. We actually have logins available for all of our art partners here. They can log in, put their own venue information up, put their own schedules up, and then it has a searchable calendar. It also has a comment function on it, so if you want to leave a comment about a show or a particular function, it's on there. And then to the right, you'll see this is a little screen grab of what our interactive map looks like. And if you go to our homepage, you'll see a bar right along the bottom picture that says brand new interactive map. If you click on that, you'll be able to see all of the functions there. We've gotten a lot of great response from the interactive map, mostly because it makes it easier when people are going to the website to figure out exactly where something is, typically in proximity to the other thing that is bringing them here. We do belong to a tremendous number of local, regional, and state organizations. I do serve as the Ohio's Appalachian Country Incorporated Treasurer. This is the tourism marketing arm of the Governor's Office of Appalachia, and we represent the 32 counties of Appalachia. If I have to say there's one organization that I belong to that really gets a lot of work done, it's this organization. We've been very instrumental in getting the Governor's Office of Appalachia to agree to pay for each of the 32 counties' tourism economic impact report. This is a $2,000 report that this year we will contribute $100 to receive, which makes us the envy of our non-Appalachian peers. But we definitely have forged a great relationship with the Governor's Office of Appalachia. They were very instrumental in bringing the Appalachian Regional Conference to us this past October, and we hope that that relationship continues to enjoy a healthy existence. Ohio River Trails, Appalachian Adventure Trail, OTA, Association of Convention and Visitors Bureaus, all these organizations serve a purpose for us. I don't attend every single meeting for every single organization, but definitely for us to be members and to know what's going on with them allows us to stay in touch with what's happening in the tourism world. And right now, with the significant number of changes that we have going on in tourism within the state, those memberships are very important to us. Last year, we awarded about $22,000 in grants and sponsorships. Some organizations received grants. Some organizations received sponsorships. They had different requirements that they had to meet. It was about $16,000 in grants and about another $6,000 in cash sponsorships. And those are some of the organizations that we supported. We'll see a little bit of a slight change to our grants program this year, but we will continue to make those cash awards to events and attractions and festivals that need assistance. Okay, so let's look at what we received this past year in lodging tax income. As you know, we received 35% of the city lodging tax. The city has a 3% lodging tax on each overnight stay here. That money is collected on a quarterly basis and paid to us on a quarterly basis. So we received 35% of that income from the city. This past year we budgeted $85,852. This is what we received the year before. And we received in 2009 $86,533. If you look at the county as a whole, the county also has a separate tax, a 3% tax, of which the CVB receives 95% of. We budgeted $227,424, and we received $245,752. Remember, there are a number of cabins and bed and breakfasts and lodges that lie outside of the city limits of Athens, which is why you don't see the corresponding number. Even though the percentage is the same, there are many entities that don't lie within the city limits of Athens. So it represents additional revenue for us. Plus, it's a higher percentage. So our total lodging tax revenue for 2009, $332,285, and the City of Athens funding represents about 26% of our overall budget. Okay, 2010 efforts. The first thing that I'm really excited about is exploring new advertising opportunities. We will be doing a partnership with Time Warner Cable this year. We're very fortunate to have a great local rep, Kathy Malesic, who used to be with the radio station here, and she really has opened some really great doors for us. In addition to us advertising on Time Warner Cable, which will begin probably through the bulk of the season, so early April through the end of October, we also will be utilizing our grant program to award Time Warner advertising grants. So instead of getting a cash amount for a grant, our awardees are going to receive what we're referring to as a donut commercial. I really like donuts, but it's not about donuts. The beginning of it is about Athens, the end of it is about Athens, and the center of the commercial, the middle 20 seconds or so, is about that particular event or attraction. Of course, it has to be a nonprofit event or attraction in order to qualify. But we're really excited to be able to offer that and to add that to sort of back up the other advertising that we will be doing. We made one commercial last year, and I'm sorry I don't have it. I should have added it to this. And it was pretty fun to make. We used Polly Sumney, who is a local videographer. She works in conjunction with Time Warner on a lot of their projects. And we created a commercial together. It was the first one that we did, and we actually won 2 state awards for it. So out of the box, we were thinking that we did okay on it. We will be filming another commercial that is just about Athens, and we're slated to start shooting on that in about 2 weeks. So we're just beginning to get through the storyboard process now, but we're very excited about doing that. We also will be going through a website redesign, increased online purchasing opportunities. Some of the things that we're exploring include shopping carts. We're not really sure where we're going with that, but a way for us to draw attention to particularly some of the arts venues that are here, some of their products, introduce them to people who are visiting our website. Maybe they're interested in purchasing it. Maybe we have groups here who want to sell things but don't have a website with a shopping cart. We're also looking at some smartphone applications and some ways for people to learn more about Athens County on the fly. So they drive, they see a billboard, they see a sign for something, they can pick it up on their phone, they can find the interactive map, they can figure out how to get there. We will be rolling out what we're calling the 30-mile meal campaign. This is very exciting. We've been working with AceNet for about a year and a half on this project, and the 30-mile meal concept is about everything that's local, everything that happens within Athens within about 30 miles. So all of the great local food that's produced here, the restaurants that utilize that local food, tours of local barns and farms. We've got a winery that will be opening up later on in the spring and bringing groups in to enjoy that. We've got a lot of independent locavore groups that come in on a regular basis, and this is just another way for us to begin to capture that thing that we really love about Athens, and we realize that we love all that stuff that just happens right here, all that stuff that comes from us, and we're pretty partial to it. The incident that happened with Snowville Creamery about a year and a half ago at Kroger, when they moved it and changed the price, and everyone kind of was like, no, you cannot do that. It really helps us to understand that that's what we love about Athens. And this year, of course, fresh food, local food, and sustainable local economies is really what's happening nationwide, and we're seeing big cities tap into that. And you know what? We're one of the founders of that. It's been going on here for a long time. So that's what the 30-mile meal will attempt to capitalize on. Increased sales efforts directed at conferences and meetings. Development of a regional group tour product. This actually will again be centered around local food production, and it will involve Morgan County, Athens County, and Gallia County. The Tourism Economic Impact Study and the GOA sponsorship, which we talked about, that will be coming out probably around the 1st of June or so. It takes them a while to compile the data, and will be based on 2009 statistics. A PR campaign promoting Athens' unique businesses and attractions, and of course partnerships with our regional communities, and you'll see some more information on those partnerships rolling out soon. Sneak peek at the visitor's guide, which hopefully will be rolling in here about midweek next week. We're really excited about it. You'll see the cover on the left, and we've done something a little different on the inside this year. Athens will have about I think it's about a 6-page spread in there, and then Nelsonville has a 4 or 5-page spread in there to really highlight the two big communities that we have here. In the past, we've done attractions here and there, but you've never really gotten the concept of what each of the two big towns here are really about. And so I think this year, this guide really does a great job of showing off those communities. It will also be interactive, so you'll see a digital version. And one of the other changes to this is we will be including a visitor map. It's a pull-out map that goes in the center that opens up, that has OU, it has Uptown Athens, it has the entire county, it has the city of Athens and Nelsonville on it, and lists all of our attractions. And that will appear in every single one of our maps, all 60,000 of them this year. Of course, we talked a little bit earlier about GOBA. We'll be hosting GOBA the 23rd through the 25th. People keep telling me, you've got to be prepared for how many people. 3,000 people who roll in hungry and tired. And they're apparently just going to eat everything in Athens. And we've been working with our committee chairs. We've got 7 committees going right now that are looking at everything from emergency preparation and food to transportation and entertainment. So we're very, very excited about having them here. We have been working for several years to get them here, and I really want to credit the Athens Arts, Parks, and Recreation Committee for stepping forward, agreeing to host them on their property at the community center, and everything that goes in with this particular group. It is going to be a tremendous amount of work, but a really great experience that we're looking forward to. Other scheduled events, again, the National Collegiate Forensics Competition. We'll also be hosting the District Rotary Conference in May, the Black Alumni Reunion, the Ohio Latin American Conference. These are just things that are happening in the early part of this year. We'll also again be seeing Pelotonia return. This was the bike race that ran from Columbus to Athens last year with Lance Armstrong. I think he completed the race in less than 3 hours, and everybody else was like 7 hours. But and then he swooped out in a helicopter. It was a very quick process. But I don't think that Lance Armstrong is scheduled to ride this year again, but we are working with the Pelotonia group in Columbus to perhaps open up the event a little more to the public and to get more local involvement in the race. We also have 4 other cycling events in addition to Pelotonia and GOBA that will be happening this year. So this is almost the year of cycling for Athens County. And of course our seasonal festivals and special events. We always like to show off our local partners. This is by no means a complete list of them, but these are the ones that we deal with almost on a daily basis. I can't say enough about Eden Marketing and Roman Warmke and his willingness to help us with our website. He's done some amazing things, and again, some great things on tap this year. Tina Ullman, who does all our design work and makes us look so good. Acme Computers. AceNet, such a creative organization. We'll be meeting with them next week with the regional flavor folks who are sort of devising their plan for moving forward with regional flavor. This is that concept of really local, sustainable communities who love their own things, which is so classic to Athens. The Athens Municipal Art Commission, and of course Ohio University. That's just a short list of the people that we work with there, but definitely the ones that we work with almost on a daily basis. And finally, our staff. This is us. We did add Emily Molesky, who you see listed at the bottom as our operations manager. She worked part-time for us last year, and we did take her on full-time at the beginning of January. I'm so excited about that. So we have finally a staff of 4 full-time people, which is very exciting for us. So it's one thing to go out and try and generate additional business and bring conferences and meetings and groups here. But GOBA is a great example of how when you bring a group here, it's not just done when you win the bid. There's a lot of work that goes into hosting all of those groups here. And we've got a really great staff put together that I think is really going to do some good things this year. But we stay very busy. So. Any questions? I feel like I just blew through that.
I have a couple questions, actually 3. How are you planning for the calendar change?
We are working with local businesses and have started that discussion, particularly with the hoteliers and with OU Conference Services. Kristen Steckmesser, Stanley, and I actually met about a week and a half ago because now is the time when we're beginning to bid on those things that will happen in 2012 and 2013. And we feel like we're going to be okay. A lot of what's contingent on the schedule is going to be how OU shifts its parents' weekends. And right now we're just trying to bid on things that we know we have time to do. So that would be the middle of May through the middle of August, and then the December months, the winter months when traffic is a little slower. And those are, for conferences, generally a good time to host those meetings and to bid on them as well. So hopefully things will just sort of fall into place and we'll just keep rolling like we always have.
Great. And you talked about the Time Warner, your new partnership.
Yes.
And what is the reach, the kind of commercial reach of them?
I don't have their statistics right here in front of me, but we hit the largest Central Ohio market, which is probably about a 40 to 50 mile radius around Columbus, plus all the way over to Zanesville, and then all the way down to Athens, almost over to the edge of Dayton, and then almost all the way up to Marion. It is a huge area. What's fun is that when OU played football over the winter, over December, we have people call us and say, I saw your commercial in the middle of an OU game. We can afford that. That's the kind of partnership that we've been able to negotiate with them, and it's super. Now, we're not going to stop doing our print advertising, but certainly we're changing the emphasis of where our money is being spent right now in order to be able to reach a wider market.
Great. And the last thing, I'm wondering how much Nelsonville contributes to your budget. And
they collect a lodging tax, which right now we don't see it, so my guess is it's probably about $7,000 or $8,000 a year. They do not contribute their municipal tax to us at all. However, they have invested their tax into tourism development projects. So for the next 3 years, their tourism tax is dedicated to pay for the expansion of the bikeway, their portion of the expansion of the bikeway.
So when you do the your pamphlet and such, and you do a 5-page spread on Nelsonville, are they putting any money into?
Sure, they contribute to the county tax.
Okay.
Yeah, they contribute to the 75% of the other side of our operation. Yeah, and we have to remember, Nelsonville, while it's still in a development stage, represents a fair amount of money for us. I mean, it's our largest tourism attraction is the Hocking Valley Scenic Railroad. They see almost 40,000 riders a year. I'm sure if I stood there with a clicker and ticked off the number of people that go in the Rocky Outdoor Gear Store, it would be huge. So for us, they're a viable operation, and the fact that they don't contribute as much lodging tax as the city of Athens does, in some ways, is difficult for us. But at the same time, we put so much time and effort into meetings and conferences and things like that, that really the money that the City of Athens contributes, plus what comes in from the county tax, I would say the bulk of that really goes towards Athens. And sometimes it's not visible in the way of a visitor's guide or a print ad, but definitely through Jenna's work and through my work in particular, the emphasis is, because the resources are here, is very heavily on the City of Athens.
Thank you, Chris. Other questions, comments? Chris?
Just a comment. Thank you for all the work on the site progress.
Thank you.
Of the organization. If transportation related, I know that Jenna Dill said when she met with our Transportation Advisory Committee the other day about GOBA that they're aware of the delays that will happen because of the construction of the roundabout.
Yes.
And just maybe there's an opportunity to link people or direct them to the city's front page.
Yes.
It does have that 10-minute video that talks about all the different phases of construction and when and what to expect when they come into town.
We actually have linked that video on our website, and we will make sure that it appears in all of the GOBA information. And part of our goal in coordinating the transportation is to make sure that we've got an easy way for people to get to the other side of the roundabout. So if they don't choose to ride their bikes, we hope to have some chartered transportation that will take them, because the Dairy Barn will be hosting a huge event. The OU Challenge course will be open for one full day up there. The Cemetery Trail will be hosting guided trips, and the Kennedy Museum is open. So it's very important for our visitors to be able to get over there. We're going to make it as easy as possible for them. So
Good. Thanks.
it's a great video, by the way. We all sat and watched it, and then we posted it on the web. So
Mayor Wiley, you had your hand up. Oh, I'm sorry, Ken.
I can go after the mayor.
No, go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks, Paige, again, for your presentation and the work you do as well. It was noted by Member Nisley. I was thinking about one of the artistic organizations that came into town and did painting. I can't think of...
the Plain Air Society,
Correct,
the Ohio
okay.
Plain Air Society did a paint out. They'll be doing another paint out in April.
Super.
And they're a fun group. They bring, it's about 20 people that come in.
Okay.
And they have probably about 10 different paint outs across the state each year. They gather at the Dairy Barn, and then they spend a day painting, and then they all meet up again and share their work.
Okay. So it's a relatively small
About 20
group,
people.
but
Yeah.
compared to some of our other... the other question I was thinking about was, and I don't know if it's totally relevant to the convention and Visitors Bureau, but thinking about like strategic planning, 5-year, 10-year, are there some ideas or things there that relevant?
Absolutely. And we actually, at our first board meeting of the year, agreed to undergo the strategic planning process this year. So we actually will be hiring a consultant who will lead us through that process. But definitely, some of our goals with the change from quarters to semesters is a big part of it. But also to make sure that we are keeping up with the demand of visitors and that we're meeting the needs of local business partners.
Okay.
And that's a challenge for us. That is not a traditional duty of a Convention and Visitors Bureau. Some of my counterparts are very clear that no, we're not here to serve a function to represent all businesses. And we feel like we have an income that needs to be used. That's why we created the website and give free listings to all businesses on there. You'll find everything from plumbing to tires to the Hocking Valley Scenic Railroad on there, and I'm okay with that. Conferences that come in, like the Collegiate Forensics Competition, this was bid on in conjunction with Ohio University and our office over the course of a couple of months. But most of the logistics and work is being handled by the university on that one. We'll provide visitor packets and some registration assistance and that kind of thing. But there's give and take. It just depends on who contacts us, how large the group is, and how much assistance they need. Some groups come in, they don't need any help at all. That's fine with us.
Okay.
There are other groups that come in that say, we want the total Athens experience, and we roll out the red carpet. So.
Thanks. Just wanted to know.
Paige, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very wide-ranging, informative presentation tonight.
Thank you.
And I think you didn't have a lot of questions because you answered them all before we got to it.
I try.
That's good.
Thank
By the
you.
way, I have copies of the Appalachian Regional Guide, which came out the latter part of last year, and I'll leave them here on the table in case anybody wants a copy.
Okay, thank you. Our second presentation is Matt Green, who is heading up our Athens Community Television effort. And again, we have a contract with Mr. Green and Act TV, and part of that contract is an annual report of what's gone on and what he's planning to do. Matt?
All right. Matt Green from Athens Community Television, which most of you should know. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we do, again, what we've done the last year, and then some things that we can do to improve. For public access television, our mission is to provide to pretty much anyone from our community the facilities, training, and the equipment so that they can produce television shows that they feel represent their interest in our community. How we provide the assistance for them to do that is video production training, various software that you need to know to edit video. We assist them with that. We have the production equipment on site. We also have a studio where a lot of our producers come in and sit down and do their talk show or cooking show or whatever they decide to do. And we are a handicap accessible facility. Some history of the last few years. This past year, 2009, we had 733 programs turned in to be cablecast on the air, which resulted in 590 hours of total programming, which you can see the last two slides, they have increased and not decreased, which is great. Our producer base has grown to 106 members. Not every single one of those producers come in every day or every week and do a show, but a lot of them maybe come in during the summer or during winter. During the winter, we get a lot of people because it's cold outside. And summer, sometimes it's a little sparse around the office, but we have a lot of other things going on that keep us busy. Our equipment rentals rose again this year, finally, back up to 405. The previous year, we were operating with one camera that people could take out, and with the amount of money you appropriated last year, we were able to get new cameras, and we have more equipment for people to take out of the office and use on a daily basis. And right now, things have been picking up since the beginning of the year, and we're lucky if we have one camera that's not checked out here recently. So, on-site studio utilization. This is the amount of hours that we've had people inside of the studio working on projects. Last year, 2009, we had 1,990 hours. And these are some totals over since I started operating Access in 2006. Some partnerships that we work with a lot of other local nonprofits as far as releasing information about their events and what they have coming up, like Red Cross blood drive information, health recovery services, like Red Ribbon Week is one big thing they do in October, and we help promote the events that are going on with that. And Habitat for Humanity, Passion Works sends us a newsletter every month with updates about what their artists are up to and all the goings on there. Ohio University and Hockey College, we have interns and work-study students from both, mostly work-study students from Ohio University, and usually one intern a year from OU. And in the spring, Hocking College, we usually have 3 to 4 interns, which helps out. And this past year, they ended up sticking around all summer because they wanted to learn more, which helped us out a lot. Weekly programming, on average, 48% of our programming is produced in the facility or by producers that come in and get equipment and go out into the field and produce their show and come back and edit it and then put it on the air. 26% comes from within Ohio. Some of it comes from other access stations where we share programming back and forth. And the remaining 26% comes nationally. Some special programming that we were able to do this past year was Athens High School football. We were able to do 3 of their home games, and the Demolition Derby, the County Fair coverage, and Athens Fireworks. And we were also able to do 9 Copperhead baseball games last year, which that's where the interns from Hocking really had a big part in. The reason I have WATH, WXTQ there, they allowed us to use their broadcast audio feed for our commentary. And whenever they broke for commercial, we just put a pause in our program and then resumed when they came back to air. These are our 2008 budgeted expenditures, which you guys should have received the financial statement for 2008 last year. And then 2009, which I just gave the clerk of council our latest financial statement at the end of last week, so hopefully you guys received that. Some additional 2009 support that helped us out was the $20,000 appropriated by City Council last year, which allowed us to get a NewTek VT5 video toaster, which replaced some equipment that I believe was probably older than I am. And it replaced all the cameras that were donated from Hocking College that they got from WHIZ in Zanesville that were then passed to Hocking, then to me, and I had some stuff from OU that's been around forever. And we got all new HD cameras, which have been a blessing. We use them in the studio every day. We use them for the football games, the Copperhead games, and they've been utilized. Western and Southern Life made a small donation, and we've had some private donations from some of our producers, which resulted in $20,675. Some improvements that we need to make that would help us out quite a bit is our playback system. Currently, we have one machine that keeps us on the air 24/7. And unfortunately, in order for us to update our schedule to add the new programming on or put on a PSA for an organization, we have to go off the air and run color bars. So it's kind of limited me down to trying to do all of this one day a week and cramming it in a few hours. And sometimes I have stack of programming that we have to get on in a certain amount of time. This would allow us to stay on the air when we update our schedule. If there's an emergency situation where we need to get information out to the community, and I get a call or an email, I can actually access this online from anywhere and make updates to the system. The third component would be that organizations like the Red Cross or HRS or Habitat for Humanity or anyone, we can get an administrator from their facility or organization and give them a password and username to log on online, and they can fill out basically a web form, and it will update and put the information right on the air. And I can set that up to either where I would have to approve it before it goes on, which as long as, they're a trustworthy person, we should be able to bypass that step. But in cases where we may need to monitor what's going on, we can do that as well. And again, wherever we are, we're out of the football game and we need to make changes at the studio as far as scheduling, we would be able to do that. And the cost for that is $7,855. That's 1 year support upgrades, 3-year warranty, and 1 day on-site setup and training. Some other equipment that we would like to get, this is not the most important thing to get right now, the playback system is, 3 new Mac Mini computers, 2 licenses for Final Cut Pro Studio, and 2 19-inch LCD monitors. That would be used for editing. Currently, some of our computers, we have software that was passed on to us from the government channel that our computers can't run because they're too old. So, and the compact telephone audio interface, we've had some requests from producers wanting to do live call-in shows, and we don't have the ability to do that, and this would give us that ability. The cost would be about $13,105, and I'm asking the city if they could chip in $9,828.75. ACTV 23 would be able to put a 25% match in of $3,276.25. And that's pretty much all I have for you tonight. Tried to get through this quick since we all want to get out of here. So any questions?
Christine.
What sort of training do you provide for the community?
The first thing that if anybody from the community wants to start doing a TV show would be orientation, which I've set up on our website. So they watch a video of me telling them everything that they need to know, rules, regulations. And then there's a quiz that they take online. And when they complete that, it sends me an email and lets me know someone's gone through that. Actually, tomorrow we're starting a Final Cut Pro training. It's going to be 3 nights this week from 5 to 8. So 9 hours of training, and that's for basic editing. We have some Photoshop courses, and I just try and play it like what is being requested. So far this year, I have Final Cut Pro, Basic, Intermediate, and Advanced scheduled for February, March, and April.
And who is this open to?
Anyone.
Anyone? And do you coordinate with the high school or the junior high?
We haven't yet. That's something I'd like to do. I just need to set up some contacts there.
Like to go and do shows or
To
anything
go
through
out
them,
and-
or?
Like football, we coordinated with the athletic department at Athens High School to go out and do some football games. Hoping to possibly do some of their baseball games this spring.
Beyond sports?
Beyond sports, the thing with music and theater is a lot of that's copywritten, which we can't cable cast. So,
Great.
Some of your producers are high school students, aren't they?
yeah. Actually, Isaac Smith is a producer, and he also sits on our board as a high school student. He's involved with, I can't think, this Factory Street Dance Studio.
Okay.
He does a lot of stuff for them and helps them out. And I can't think of how many high school students we have, but we have multiple. And in 2006, when I started working at Access, we had a high school student come in who is now getting ready to graduate at the end of this quarter from OU in video production. So, and he's one of our interns.
Great. Thank you.
Other questions, comments?
Thank you. Thanks, Matt. I was also along the lines of Member Fall's comments, too. I was thinking about other opportunities to reach out. Arts West comes to my mind. A lot of events that take place there, whether it's a jazz festival. You mentioned the theater and play has some of its limitations, but I know there's other events that take place there as well, which might be, again, another opportunity to connect. And can you remind me, are you in nonprofit status, so
Yeah.
501c3?
Yep.
Okay.
We have been since October, before we actually had the contract with the city.
I appreciate your acknowledgement there that you do get a few small donations from some producers and whatnot, and again, I think that maybe there's an untapped venue out there for more, to be able to solicit more money from that sector. I know a lot of nonprofits struggle, but they're also out there beating for money.
Right.
So I don't know how active you or the office has been in that.
Just I'll throw this in, that we're going to try and do this year is try to do some underwriting. So similar to what you'd see on PBS, like this program is brought to you in part by viewers like you, and then the company gets their factual information and a logo on the screen.
Similar to Week Radio, what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So underwriting, as long as there's no call to action, that's okay for us to do.
Sure.
And I haven't really pushed that yet, and I've got some plans to try and make that happen this coming year.
Super.
And one other thing I forgot to mention real quick, I've recently redesigned our website and started adding some of our shows on there so people can just go and watch past shows that have aired and some of the recent shows. And in the last 30 days, we've had 600 plus views, and I haven't even really announced to anyone that that's up yet. So.
Yeah.
I assume that you said you got a report to Debbie on that. Is your board full right now, and how often do you meet?
Our board is full, and we usually meet about once a year.
Okay, just wondering.
Okay. Thank you, Matt, for your report and answering questions. And we will, at a subsequent Finance and Personnel Committee, talk about your requests. Sound very reasonable. And if you could give me some copies of what you've shown up there, that we might have that in front of people when we're talking about it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Next thing on our Finance and Personnel agenda is miscellaneous. I don't have any miscellaneous. I've talked to my other committee members, and neither do they. So we will move on to the Transportation Committee.
Thank you. Tonight we have 3 agenda items. The first one being about bus signage. And the city has been working with the Transportation Advisory Committee, and the Service Safety Office have been involved, the Streets Department, and this is working towards a uniform signage throughout the city for the different bus systems. And Mayor Weil has some prototype signs. Maybe Councilmember Butler, could you help him? I think it's a two-person operation.
We can work on
here.
this, yes. Essentially, what we now have is several bus systems out there since it's fragmented. Here, why don't you take a seat right here? How's that sound?
I'm going to stop on the bus.
Stop on the bus here, right there.
For the bus stopping.
Part of the thing is that we ended up with several transit systems, so rather than have a whole mess of different signs out there, the discussion has got to have a unified sign system where we have this as a top part, and depending on the location, we'd end up with subsequent bottom portions in terms of Athens Transit for hours, University Commons on the other side, CATS, Lakefront, of course, is the intercity bus system, which I can bring up in miscellaneous if need be. University Courtyard, which of course is going through Ohio University, and Summit. Originally, again, the idea is to unify it, to make it obviously identifiable by color code and logo, so people know where the buses are and aren't stopping. I'm peripheral to this, but the idea again is to make it a little bit more consistent throughout the city.
So the smaller signs will hang immediately below the larger signs. So we could have potentially at any one stop, we could have 3 or 4 of those signs.
And ones that don't stop there will not be there. We have overlap with some bus stops, and others do not, of course, none whatsoever in terms of where they go. And again, this is just cooking around. We'll probably make a good number of these so we can replace them as needed, and if routes change. This is as good as we get for coordinating all the bus systems, as well as timing, I suspect. You're going to take those away?
Yeah, this will look good in my house.
Yeah, okay.
First step.
I don't know if that's legal.
Councilmember Fall, question.
I'm wondering who's going to pay for each, because I noticed like the courtyards and the Summit they're kind of trademarked that they advertise in the newspapers and such?
We're going with the logos or the fonts to make it easy identifiable. We'll probably pay for all of it, I believe. I think that's the conversation at this point. We can do most of these signs in-house fairly cheap. And the idea is I think if Bill was here, he usually talks about how bad the sign, there's way too many signs out there. So the idea is to try whittling them down. Rather than everybody nailing it to a post or a sign or a telephone pole, we're trying to make it a little bit more convenient and work out so we don't have multiple signs in one place.
And so my question is, where at the bus stop are you planning to put these?
It depends on where we're going to go. I mean, we have poles up right now for many of the bus stations. The question I'd ask, so we're going to be on OU property for this, but we probably will. Some of them do overlap in OU territories, campus. So we can put poles up. We have poles in many cases already up. Almost all the organizations have something. I think one of the issues, of course, is the CATS one. Actually, they have, with theirs, they have a, they have a map, I believe, on many of their bus stops. And that's the next question of how we're going to fit that onto the two logos. But we're working on it. And again, this is mostly Task Force and Ron Lucas, who are the main two drivers of this. In fact, I'm supposed to hand this all over to Chris, but she didn't want to have to juggle all the signs.
Thank you, Mayor Weil, very much. If you have any other comments or suggestions, let us know, and I really do appreciate the work. Yes.
Just another quick question.
Sure.
Is there any intent on having schedules or timetables on these as well? Or has that been thought?
There hasn't been to date. Doesn't mean we couldn't entertain the idea. We have the schedules listed on the website, and that always has the up-to-date information. But I hear what you're saying. If it's right there and people can look at it and say, oh, I can get to East State Street from downtown outside the municipal parking garage, then I'm sure that would be a help. So. Thank you.
Really, is about half these signs, for instance, Summit and Courtyard, are pretty much internal systems. So that people who live there, and Commons as well. So 3 of these are actually, corporations, I guess. They probably have pretty consistent routes too already. I mean that everybody knows about who's capable of getting on them. CATS, I think they do have a timetable on their signs, I believe, and ours, of course, are on the website. Ours are pretty extensive to be able to put them there. I don't know if you've seen the brochure, but it'd be a lot of numbers.
It might not quite fit there.
Yeah.
But maybe even hours of operation or something like that might be helpful. Councilmember Butler.
Thank you, Member Nisley. I am also curious about the creation of bus stops that would be covered. I think that in itself helps promote the use of the buses, because then people realize or recognize that they're going to be dry and out of the elements while they're waiting for the bus. I think that, too, along with the signage, would potentially encourage more use.
You're talking about shelters, bus shelters.
Correct, yeah. I think we have one at the community center. There's
We have one
uptown.
here,
Right.
Community Center. There's
Right.
one at Carriage Hill. We actually have some stimulus money to add another bus shelter. We'll probably swap out the one in the parking garage here and make with a larger one. This is 4x8 over here. We're going to go with a 5x15 over here. And the next conversation is why we're taking the other one out, where to put it. We have several selected spots. We haven't decided where. Mostly, actually, we're thinking is one on East State Street all the way down by Hope Drive. Because you know how the wind blows across that whole area down there when you're at the farmer's market or something. The other one is possible area is on Richland Avenue by Station 2, Fire Station 2. We see a lot of traffic there. After that, I'm up for suggestions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Second agenda item has already been covered in part by Paige's presentation with the Great Ohio Bicycle Adventure. It's a week-long bicycle ride in a different section of the state each year. This year, Athens will be host to 2 days of the 7 here on the 23rd through 25th of June. And as Paige mentioned, the transportation committee that her group is forming will be coordinating all the volunteer efforts to get those people around the city easily while they're here visiting. So if anybody is interested in volunteering for that group, Paige or Jenna Dill is helping with that. And that their group from the Athens Convention Visitors Bureau is meeting with the Transportation Advisory Committee in these next months to coordinate all of that. So, Mayor Weil.
I'll also mention there are other committees too, including information, food, entertainment. We're covering this as a city. We're covering emergency and security, I believe. I forget what the other ones are.
Campground logistics.
Okay, we're covering campground logistics too to a certain
I
extent.
think Rich and Andy,
Yes.
we're going to head that up.
Okay.
So it's quite a few. I think, as paraphrase what Paige said, who was paraphrasing what Hillary said, it takes a city to do one of these events. And we have it easy compared to someplace like McConnellsville, where they're not probably ever going to be ready for this.
It's a wonderful opportunity to showcase Athens and also to help get people transported around, and it'll be an interesting time. It'll be a good time.
And a high percentage are out-of-staters, so they'll be able to see our bike path and what Southeast Ohio looks like.
Yeah. So if you're interested, just let Jenna Dill know or myself, and you'll continue to hear more over the next few months about this. Any other questions or comments?
I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
My miscellaneous item was brought to my attention by Councilmember Fall, who was commenting about city sidewalks. And just a gentle reminder to everybody, just as the city employees have been working very hard in front of our municipal building and the municipal garage and over at the community center to get rid of the snow, we'd also like to remind citizens and property owners and landlords that it is their responsibility to clean the sidewalk within 24 hours, the sidewalk that's out in front of their properties. Mayor Weil.
Wow.
Okay.
It's catchy.
Like he's
Bill's
doing that.
here in spirit.
Last time we put out about 80 or so warnings. I think we've given code, again, marching orders to put more warnings out. There will come a point where we'll stop giving warnings. It doesn't take much to slip and break something on the ice. I looked at the snow really came down mostly on Saturday, and therefore everybody had all Sunday to play in the snow and shovel their sidewalks, which many did, much to some of the complaints I heard. So that's a good reason to do that, to get it up. And we're going to have more snow, so this is not going to disappear anytime soon. So you need to get it cleared off. And again, we're trying to be a pedestrian-friendly city, and that's part of it. I have another miscellaneous, too.
Okay, and I guess I think I would also comment, too, the businesses. I've noticed a lot of businesses along Richland Avenue where it's difficult, and we have a lot of people who are walking on Richland Avenue getting back and forth to school, so that would be a real help to get that area cleared also.
Okay, I'll mention it.
Councilmember Fall.
Also, something that happens that I see is people who have parking lots or parking spaces plow it, and then they just kind of push it onto sidewalks or right next to sidewalks. So you're ending up as a pedestrian going up and over this little glacier. And I mean, right now, when you're not necessarily able to drive every place because the roads are so dangerous, a lot of people are walking, and this is just so hazardous and rude to pedestrians. And I would really like, I mean, all along East State Street, a lot of the people just plowed their parking lots right onto the sidewalk, and we need to really watch for pedestrians. They have as much right to the roadways as cars do.
To the sidewalks.
As the sidewalks, yes. So.
Mayor Weil.
Okay, one other miscellaneous, I guess. Again, we're still haven't been awarded the intercity bus award grant for the Athens, Cincinnati, and Athens, Columbus. This is one of those things that will move pretty quickly. You authorized me last year to enter into contract, to bid, enter into contract, and all that. I do want to let you be aware of that. If we get awarded that, the money will have to be appropriated. If we get awarded money, we'll have to be pretty much moving pretty quickly on it. So I want to mention that in passing. We still haven't decided. The next question is we'll have to put an RFP out for the bus service. We'll also have to enter into a contract with ODOT for committing to doing that bus service. And I just want to let you know about that. If you have any questions, we can always talk about it along the way, but I just want to give you a heads up. Mostly because 90%, let's see, the operating funds and the capital are all 100%. The administration is 80%. It's still all reimbursement, so it's always going to take a cash flow. And we discussed this at the auditors meeting last Thursday, but I just want to reiterate to everybody on council. Also, in terms of finance personnel, there was some discussion about putting some money in the sewer refunds line. I know you jumped right out of that committee before I had a chance to say anything. Okay, so because I think the Service Safety Director brought that up. One of the last refund lines that I'm missing.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that did get brought up. We have put money into refund lines for the Recreation Department and several others, and we forgot, it was forgotten that...
I forgot to put it in, essentially. There's about 6 or 7 refund lines.
There are some refunds in the sewer line, so we need to put... what was the suggestion?
I think she said $750.
I was thinking $750 also.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I have on my notes here.
Yeah.
Pay your bill.
So it's not a large amount, but it's something that needs to be done. The money needs to be available for those refunds in the department.
The other one, of course, is the fund lines for interns. I saw the email from the deputy auditor who says leave it be for the time being, but we'll see. Again, if you start looking at the numbers from your monthly reports, you'll start seeing how look at the regular pay lines and see if they're ahead or not at that point, because that's really where they're coming out of now. If they're not in, interns and seasonal workers aren't in place, there's no money in those funds at this time. We dropped a lot of them out trying to balance the budget, but we still have interns that are needed and seasonal workers. That's a discussion for further down the line, I believe. But I want to just
We'll have it ready by summer.
What?
We'll have it by summer.
Yes.
Okay, are there any other questions for the Transportation Committee? Okay. Next week is a regular meeting, business meeting.
Is that on Tuesday or Monday? It's on Monday.
It's on Monday. That's what I was getting around to say. Monday is a holiday,
For some people.
President's Day, but we will be meeting on Monday. It's not a city holiday.
It's one of the floating ones.
And this Thursday, if there's a finance meeting, committee meeting, right? Is that correct? At 2?
That's correct. I think we mentioned that earlier, that on most Thursdays, there is a standing committee meeting, finance and personnel, with the mayor and the auditor, 2 o'clock on Thursday. Sometimes it gets canceled for various reasons. So it is an open meeting. Everyone is invited. We do suggest that you call the mayor's office on Thursday morning. Make sure that it is going as scheduled.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Member Butler, for reminding me. No other comments? We will close our committee meeting. Thank you.